Welcome back to the No Love Podcast, where we decrease tomorrow's divorce rate by teaching singles and couples alike while experiencing love on purpose and not by chance. I'm your host, Edward L. Fairley, accompanied by my wonderful, lovely co-host, Michelle Larkin. Michelle, say hi to the people.
Welcome 2020. Yeah.
Well, it is now 2020, new year, new season. What's going on? I feel like I was just telling you, I felt like I haven't talked to you in a month of Mondays. Feel like it's
A month of Mondays.
Yeah.
A lot's going on. I've just seen a lot of it's really interesting over the end of the year, all of the conversations that we have had through the course of the podcast. I have had incidences where I've had to either engage the way we said is truth or make a decision. And it's really interesting that, it's sometimes it was uncomfortable. Either you believe or you don't, right? So, and so one of them was, I have been using this one, treating people in partnership or in friendship, well, partnership really, like they're your children. Like you would not throw your child out with the bathwater if they made a mistake. So if somebody you're in connection with has made a mistake or done something that you don't understand, it's not like you just peace out. I don't have nothing to do with you. But that was just reflecting on things that we talked about and making a decision in my real life about how am I going to address this situation. So I am excited about what's ahead because I can see the growth from what's happened in the past. And I can't begin to tell you all the many things that are happening for me entrepreneurially, professionally, personally. I'm just blessed. And I'm excited.
Well, you can if you want. We definitely want to hear what you got going on. Anything you want to share? Happy New Year, Mr. Henry. I saw your Happy New Year post. Happy New Year, sir.
Happy New Year.
I replied back to him. So yeah, what do you got going on? Anything you want to share or let us know that you're working on is in the working for 2020?
I had this dream of virtual mentoring way back in 2004. And I remember because I wrote it down, right? So I wrote it down and I had it in my files as a plan. I had written it out what it's going to look like. And I literally, at the last week of 2019, pulled out the business plan I had written in 2017 and saw how all the pieces had come together, including this thing called Lattice, which a gentleman came up to me and said, hey, I want to work with you. It was introduced to us by a mutual friend. It is the solution. It was the missing piece to my paradigm. It's a platform that links mentors and mentees and manages the connection so that it's minimal time management, but a lot of impact. And I was like, and he's like, I want to do a case study with you. Let's work it into your proposal. And I was like, what? Like I didn't have to go develop the technology. It came to me. So I'm just excited because I'm walking into launching a professional development. It's called Catapult Training, but it's intended to catapult individuals into the next chapter of their career or into the workplace. It's just to give you the tools to go from clarity to focus and targeting to launching and going in to evaluating and assessing your success and then celebrating it and then doing that cycle again for every time you have to make a next best move. So, but then being able to link people to people who can help them through their catapult process is going to be amazing. It's going to be subscription based and you're going to have key people in industry. And then I had a friend of mine who's a director at CBS Sports, stop playing, reached out to me on LinkedIn. He was like, hey, what are you doing? Are you a millionaire yet? And I was like, I'm on my way. And he's like, I said, so I need you to be part of my team. And he's like, sure. And I said, so I was like, if this is the caliber of people that God's gonna bless to be a part of this group, then amen and look out 2020.
I know that's
right. All I'm saying. And that's receiving, not necessarily going out working. That's just receiving it. So, amen.
I got Mr. Randolph who said, Happy New Year, man and woman of God. Every blessing on you both. Awesome. Yes, excited. God has so much in store.
Won't he do it? Won't
Happy New
he
Year,
do
sir.
it?
Well, as far as New Year is concerned, when it comes to no love, I do have an objective for the year. My objective is honestly to make you all habitual thinkers, and honestly to be more intrusive this year. Uh,
What? Do tell.
yeah. So as
Explain
far
intrusive. What is that?
uh, honestly, I want to address and attack topics that are not welcome. Like you all didn't give me permission to talk about, but it's definitely in areas that you all oftentimes we're hiding from, but it needs to be talked about and addressed. So I'm going to be intentionally uncomfortable. So that's what I mean by intrusive. But I'm also going to be making sure that we are a thinking people because again, as we state in the beginning of this call, of this podcast, we are experiencing love on purpose, not by chance. And you cannot be experiencing love on purpose if you're not thinking and intentional about love. So I am going to do everything I can. I'll pull out every stop that I can from a teaching standpoint to get you all to start thinking on purpose habitually when it comes to this love thing, relationships, interactions, communication, things of that nature. So that's what I mean. I see Miss Lisa says, congratulations, Michelle. Happy New Year to you both. Mr. Henry said, outstanding. Wishing you well on that project, Miss Michelle. So yes, we are. I'm excited. I'm excited about the new year. I'm excited about like the conversations and stuff that I'm having outside of this platform. Another thing that I've been doing is I've been sharing the No Love board game / simulator with people locally, and the feedback has been phenomenal. And it's funny because it's kind of like the inner circle relationships that I have. They have a love-hate relationship with the simulation because they love it, but they hate it at the same time because it makes them feel uncomfortable. It steps on their toes, but they're growing from it. I'm hearing so many testimonials about it causing spouses that have been married for multiple decades to have more interaction, which means the game is working after the game is worked. So it's still being played even when they're not playing. I've been hearing testimonials of spouses that are using this as communication, this particular show, where they're communicating about topics and stuff. I have singles that have literally have created no love groups that they're talking and discussing about it. And this is over on the West Coast. The feedback has been phenomenal. It even causes me to be emotional at times. Definitely doing a lot of praying. But locally, I've definitely been sharing at like 3-week time frames the board game / simulator, and the feedback has been great.
How's the app? What's going on with the app?
I was about to say, I even had someone who I guess has been moving. The app has been moving so slow for iOS. Someone who has found some type of app that allows for them to experience the Android version of it. It just pulls it up in a very, very ugly way. So I'm not even going to tell you where they got it
But they
from.
figured it out. They were so intrigued. They went and figured it out.
Yeah, because of the experience that they've had with the actual game board, and knowing that they were going to ultimately have to return it, they went and took the extra step on how can I put this use the Android version of the app on my my own computer with Mac. I just got an email today saying that the Facebook correspondence for the Android version is going to it should be ready by the end of this week so that people can actually select people to play the simulation with. Unfortunately, I'm probably going to have to, for lack of a better term, go back to the drawing board and fire my current developers that are working on iOS, because we have to get it moving. Because upon my research, especially with the actual No Love podcast, 65% of my listeners on podcasts are iPhone users. So I'm telling people about the actual the app when the majority of the people that are listening in and would benefit from the app are actually on iOS. So I'm gonna have to go to the drawing board on hiring an iOS developer. If you all know of any that I should be considering, please inbox me so I can go to them to get that project worked on. I'm definitely still looking for a mass production company to get the price down for the actual simulation / board game version of it that people have been using locally and giving me the great feedback about and also testimonials about how it's definitely helping in their relationship. And I mean, I'm not talking about people who've just been in a relationship. I'm talking about people who have been married for 20 plus years that are having revelations and things that they're gaining from the actual simulation. And just the statements like, and there's no way that we can get through all of these cards. And no matter how often we play, we would always be getting something new. Just as a testament to the investment that those who would ultimately purchase it will be making, as well as those who are using the app would be gaining. So that's what I have as far as preparation for 2020. Let's get into this topic. The topic. Go ahead, please.
Can I ask that as we're starting season 2, which is phenomenal, right? Phenomenal. Season 2, would you be so kind as to reintroduce the No Love Triangle?
Oh, most certainly. So let's do that. No Love Triangle, because if you are new and you're jumping in, and I've had that too, where people just are jumping into the No Love journey podcast. I've had people that I encounter, they're like, oh, I heard your podcast. I'm like, hey, you should go back to the beginning. But as far as the triangle, so a quick summary on what the triangle is. No Love Triangle is what we are teaching from. And if you consider a triangle or anything that you build, there's always a foundation. The foundation of the triangle is self-interest, which is the foundation. Ultimately, it means you love yourself. And it's basically having a relationship with yourself to get to a point where you know and understand yourself, to where you actually the bottom foundation portion of the actual triangle, and you know yourself and love yourself at a place where you like being alone, to where you can articulate what it is that you like and love about yourself, and you will grow and establish foundational non-negotiable list, which would be standards, morals, values, and things that will allow for you to know who it is that you're looking for when you decide to go to dating. If you decide to go to dating, you can get to a place where you just love being with yourself so much that you want to be by yourself, and you're not necessarily interested in having a relationship. So no love is not necessarily about the end goal being married. It's about falling in love with yourself, and then someone, if you decide to get married or be in a relationship, sharing that experience with them, another person who also loves themselves. So in the self-interest phase, which is the foundation, you have a relationship with yourself, which in turn allows for you to, by choice, pick someone to add to your life. And with that, you go into that kind of with an interview phase, because after you've established morals, values, standards, and non-negotiable things, you're now kind of interviewing people as you date them to know as to whether they're worth moving forward with. Now, when you date and you find someone who has met the non-negotiable list in its entirety, there's no exceptions to the rule. That's why it's called non-negotiable list. There's no negotiating whether they have it or not. The recipe for your happiness is this person having all of these ingredients. So if you find as you date a person who meets that non-negotiable list, which, as I stated, standards, morals, values, those are not physicalities. So it's not he is 6'2", such and such weight, or dark skin. That I can assure you, if you find any happily married couple, 9 times out of 10, if you were to look at their yearbooks or when they went to prom, these people look absolutely nothing like what their choice of a mate would look like. So before you transition to a relationship which is the second portion of the triangle, which is selflessness. That sounds contradictory. So it's like, how do you go from self-interest to selflessness? Because now you have chosen someone selfishly to align with your morals, values, and standards. And now you take the same steps that you use to learn yourself, because typically opposites attract, and you take the time to be a student to who it is that they are. So now you learn what it is that they like, because oftentimes, again, if opposites attract, you're going to typically treat someone the way that you want to be treated. But if it's your opposite, more than likely your opposite is going to have an opposing view and opposing wants as you.
Don't want to be treated like you're treated.
Exactly. You don't want to treat your mate the way that you want to be treated. You want to treat them the way that they want to be treated. This is why a lot of people don't make it to marriage, because they get so caught up in how they want to be treated that they try to treat that person that way. So now that person has gone from they like you to you want them to get to I like how you like or love me. So now they've chosen you because you've been yourself, your authentic self. Now you want them to choose you because they like how you love them. So first they're choosing you, who you are. Second, you want them to choose how you love them, which in turn would cause them to want to marry you. So now,
well, you better preach.
So now it's selflessness. So you need to get to the place where now you're a student of them, trying to figure out what their likes and dislikes are to accommodate them in a manner of loving them the way that they want to be loved, or treating them the way that they want to be treated, while being educated enough about yourself to where you let them know that, hold on, I know this is what you like, but I would prefer you
I like
respond
something me
this way so that we would have a nice harmony going on with our relationship. That will cause a person to want to marry you, which in turn, that selflessness transitions you to marriage. Now, marriage is not the end game. There's still struggles and issues with marriage. So what causes that struggle is because people typically do not grow. They don't evolve into their full or best self. So evolution, which is self-evolution, is the third portion of the triangle, which is where you consistently grow or evolve. Not change yourself, but you evolve into your better self, which in turn makes you a consistent new person, which keeps you attractive. Because what's attractive in the beginning is because you're new. So they're learning new things. You're fascinating, which makes sex good, interaction good. So if you're consistently growing or evolving, whether it be spiritually, mentally, health-wise, that makes you a new person and an interesting person, which in turn allows for the relationship to grow, sex to be great, conversations to maintain themselves and evolve, because you're evolving, which in turn leads you right back to the foundation, which is self-interest. Because if you are a new person, you have to now relearn you, which in turn you have to, if your mate is growing, you have to relearn them, and then you're consistently evolving, which
keeps a dynamic, healthy, evolving, new, constantly changing, energizing relationship.
Which allows for the relationship to consistently evolve, which is where the depth, which is the inside of the triangle, comes from. And the triangle continues to grow deeper and deeper, which is where you find out that love has levels and growth. And then you have a successful relationship. And you know love, which is the slogan of the company Know Love, which is to go from know, N-O, L-O-V-E, know love, not having it or not understanding it, to know love, K-N-O-W-L-O-V-E, which is understanding, knowing love, which honestly is a shout out to God, who is my creator and who I do this for, because God is love. So if you just replace the word love with God, it still meets the meaning of my company, which is know God. And if you know God, you know love, and you go from know God, meaning not knowing God, to knowing God, which in turn makes life so much better. I have Henry Sneed, who said, also congratulations on starting your second season, 2020. Thank you so much, sir. Lisa said, preach.
You better preach.
We've gotten the foundation or the actual triangle out of the way. I also want to reintroduce the #9. You might hear things like #9 go on. So whenever someone says something like #9, we are about speaking truth. Everything that I teach, I also put up against the truth, which I feel the truth is the Bible. So I am always trying to poke holes in anything that I'm teaching because I don't take this platform lightly. So I also I feel that the words that I share are either going to provide life or death, cure relationships or grow relationships. So I definitely make sure that I'm challenging myself to make sure that I'm not just saying what I feel. I'm saying stuff that I researched and I've studied and put against the truth, which is the Bible, so that I'm not giving you all anything that can harm you. So #9 is the number of truth. Truth meaning the number 9 times any number, if you multiply it, the sum total of it in its simplest form will always be the sum total of that multiplication number or multiplied number will
always add up to 9.
Go back to 9. So 9 times 2 is 18. 1 plus 8, which is the number 18, equals 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 2 plus 7, 9. 9 times 11, 99. 9 plus 9 is 18, which goes back to 1 plus 8. It's going to be 9. It doesn't matter what number you do. It will always, the sum total in the simplest form will always be 9, which means you cannot hide from the truth, which is why 9 is the number of truth. And that's what we mean by #9. If something is shared, like the young lady said, preach, they're basically saying they had an aha moment or something that wowed them, or wow, they never thought of it that way.
#9.
Which is a #9. So that is what the culture and the community of No Love means. Whenever you hear #9, I don't want you to be thrown off. That's all it means. If you want to share in the #9, you just simply put #9 and type in or say whatever it is that you heard that was an aha moment or a wow moment or wow, that's powerful and truthful to you. So let's dive
There
in.
goes the foundation of no love.
There's a foundation of no love, exactly.
Welcome to 2020.
Yeah, welcome to 2020. And let's jump into this topic. The topic of today is titled Insanity or Practice.
Excuse me?
Insanity or practice.
All right.
I'll give you time to write that down. Insanity or practice. I wanted to go with this for multiple reasons. One, people typically have New Year's resolutions come the new year. People definitely have relationship goals. So it is definitely important when it comes to this topic because, one, they seem like the same thing. Let's define insanity. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. What is practice? Practice is pretty much doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Also, typically when you're practicing or if you are doing something that is insane, you're not getting immediate results. So the question is what you're doing working? Is it insane to continue to do it? Or are you practicing? Because ultimately nobody wants to do anything in vain. Let's put it out there. Nobody wants to be putting work and effort into anything that is not going to yield them anything. So basically it's important to know if what you're doing is contributing to a cycle or a result of a season. I'm gonna say that again. It's important to know if what you're doing is contributing to a cycle or a result of a season. Because as I stated, if you are practicing, you might not yield the results that you want immediately. If you're doing something that is insane, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, you're never going to yield the results that you're looking for if it's not a truth, for lack of a better term. So we have to identify and define as to whether your actions or contributions towards your relationship or your life are insane or if they're practice. And there's ways to identify that. Michelle has been writing and I see her face pondering. So I just want to know, where are you at in your thought process before we dive into how you reckon?
Because people can practice insanity. People can practice insanity. That's all. I was like, what do we say?
Elaborate.
Because
Please elaborate.
because insanity, the difference between insanity and practice to me, because I'm a ritual person, so that's a practice or a habit, right? So practice for me is aligning with a ritual or a habit with the intention of having a particular result, which is an expected result that you may not be able to control it. Like, you work out, that's a practice. It's going to grow your muscle. You don't know what, if it's abs or whatever, but or a ritual, like a writing in your journal is a practice. It's a ritual, it's a habit. And the outcome being some growth mentally, emotionally, or being able to look back and track some progress. But at the same time, I completely can agree that insanity is doing a practice with the result being not linked to, there's just a disconnect there. And so the expectation and the habitual behavior don't link up. And so you're constantly frustrated because you're not getting what you wanted to, or you're frustrated because it's not working. But that's insanity. But people practice that. They keep doing the same thing, even though they're not getting a result, because they've talked themselves into believing that this practice works. And you're like, but the evidence is not there. The evidence is not there.
That's the whole point of this show, because you have people who are practicing insanity, having expectations of something that is never going to come to pass. But at the same token, that doesn't mean you should stop practicing because you're not getting results. They both look alike.
Look at your evidence and align the evidence with the practice.
So how do you look? How do you? All right. So if, just like we just discussed, there's cycles and there's seasons. You have seasons where if I plant a seed, there's a season whereby it's not going to show me anything.
It doesn't matter what happens, nothing's popping up because it's winter time. It's not coming.
That's a season. It's not giving me
anything. The dirt. The dirt is not the problem. The seed is not the problem. It's the season.
But if I've done something similar to, or planted something that is not going to yield me anything, but I'm still watering and treating it the same way, and based on the way that I'm approaching it, it's insane. I'm not giving it any sunlight. I'm not giving it anything, but I've planted it. But I just know, I'm praying. I know that I believe, just because I believe it.
Praying for something to grow in winter.
Exactly.
So Lord, make the tree bud in winter.
Exactly. So that's the whole point. We have to find out if what we're doing, how do we go and measure as to whether what I'm thinking or feeling is insanity, or this is just practice and I'm going through a seasonal moment where I'm not yielding the results that I'm looking for.
But I should continue the practice, but adjust my expectation based on context, right? Like you're saying. So it's how do we determine the context of our behaviors is the real question. Like, how are we determining the context of our behaviors, the why, the how, the what, and what the expectation should be.
So this is what this show is about.
Well, you better preach. #9.
Identifying whether my thought process or what it is that I'm doing is insane, or this is just a result of practice. This is what we're doing today. So there's 3 things that I've concluded are ways to measure as to whether what I'm doing is insane, or it's practice and I'm just not yielding what it is that I'm doing because it's just not in season for that to happen. I still see some stuff on your face.
So just to clarify the difference between insanity and practice. For you, insanity is a practice that isn't resulting in the outcome you're looking for. Is that true?
Insanity is something that is never going to yield you the outcome that you're looking for. But you're consistently practicing something or doing something or believing that a certain action is going to ultimately yield you something.
So link insanity to cycle for me.
So insanity that's a wonderful question. Okay, so
what you tell me what?
Insanity is we're technically going to go through these.
I'm just like frame it. I'm not saying go deep in, but you were framing it, like there's insanity and practice, and then there's cycle or season, and I was trying to draw the parallels.
Got it. So insanity is, cycle and insanity. A cycle is like we have these cycles of uh, when it comes to family, like when it comes to relationships, you have uh, a dad that has been an alcoholic, granddad, great granddad, or whatever. That has been a cycle that has yet to be broken. And people think that I can handle it. I just have a few drinks or whatever, and but there's been a cycle that is technically a generational curse that you have yet to break because you keep on doing what you've been seeing people do. And for some reason, expecting that your life is going to be different from your dad's or your grandfather's or whatever. That is a cycle, which means you are contributing to what is actually happening based off of your actions, and you expect something different to happen. That's insane. So whereas in the season, we've already discussed that words are seeds and things of that nature. We're doing things that we're like, well, dang, it didn't work. See, I told you I should have went in on it, which you'll get on that when we've talked about how I'm reaping consistently because I've planted seeds for years. So I'm always in season because of the seeds that I've been planting for several years. So my consistency in my harvest is just because I've planted so many seeds consistently to where I'm getting a consistent harvest now. And it looks like, well, I should try this. And it's like, well, I tried that and that didn't work. Okay. Because you just planted a seed, and seeds don't come in season. Doesn't mean that you're insane if you keep on trying. It means you have to plant these seeds so that you can ultimately, whatever. I think I answered your question. Did I or not?
You did. The framework of cycle in the life. And yes, you did. Gotcha.
Excellent. All right. So let's jump into practice versus insanity. So the first ingredient for practice is working towards the solution of a proven model. So that's the first ingredient for practice. You already see the end. If you go to any kind of practice, the person that's instructing already knows the step, or they've already done whatever. So you're going to practice to rehearse to yield the result of what it is that the person that is teaching you has already done. Anthony Avery said, "How are you? I'm great. I hope you are well as well. Happy New Year." Joseph M. Safia said, "Where can the game board be obtained?" I'm gonna have to talk to you on the inbox.
DM him.
It's not available yet, but you can use it via Android for free. I have Randolph.
You can facilitate a game night with him. Call him and schedule some time, and then he'll bring the game. Y'all can have an event.
Okay. There you go. He says, "Be prepared for pushback. Laugh out loud. Human nature. Elephants in the room. If not dealt with, watch out." I have no problems with that. I'm perfectly comfortable with being.
Yes, that's why he needs to come and facilitate a game night for you, so he can coach people through. Back that up. Hold on 1 second. Let's just talk about this.
Yeah, but this is a wonderful platform. All right, so let's jump in. Okay, so yes, the first ingredient with practice is working towards a solution of a proven model. So now insanity, on the other hand, is working towards a solution off of an assumption or advice from someone that has yet to provide or produce a proven result. And this is what we oftentimes do, which is insane. We go to our mom who's been divorced, and we ask her for relationship advice on our relationship. We go to our friends who don't have a man or woman, and we try to get feedback on how we should respond to our man or woman. Logically, that makes absolutely no sense. We will go to a person and be like, "Hey, trying to consider a business opportunity that's been given to me. What do you think?" And this person is broke. This person has not yielded a penny. They don't have a dime to their name. They have nothing about them that says anything about them being a business person or investor or anything like that. So we will go to our broke friend and ask for business advice. So we don't go to a place that's proven or a person that is proven to get advice on how to resolve something that they have yet to prove that they can solve or resolve. And again, practice is going to something or a source, i.e. the No Love platform, the No Love app, or what have you. I've already proven via book, via clients, via people who evangelize of my work, the actual app, that I am capable and able to share and help you through whatever whatever there is revolving around relationships. So when you're practicing, you go with the end in mind, or go to the person that has already met the end, and you get your practice and information from that person. Go ahead, Michelle. I saw you write a couple times.
I think that the conversation has to have inherent in it what your goal is, whether you're practicing insanity or whether you are in a cycle or whether you're in a season. If you aren't clear about what the outcome or the goal is that you are even participating in this for, then it's very difficult to determine any of the stuff we're talking about. Like, you have to be clear about what your expectations are to determine whether this activity is worth it or not, or the outcome is a benefit or not. Like, just behaving and just being with no intent, it's all crazy. You just
and again, like and I stated, off of an assumption. So a lot of people say that experience is the best teacher, which it can be or it can't be. And what I mean by that is, as a child, if you touch a stove and it's not hot, you have taught yourself through experience that a stove is safe because it wasn't hot when you touched it. That was literally your experience. But that doesn't mean that a stove is safe. So your experience could just be a fluke or a happenstance. And if you're not questioning your experience, if you're not putting it up to something or consistently getting results from it, that's where we have the theory and we have the law.
Evolution.
Exactly, which is where we have the #9 from, because you can't hide from truth. Truth is or it isn't, which is why I have such an issue with the teachings of men like certain things, women like certain things. Those are circumstantial, and you might find a lot of examples of when that was true, but I can show you many of times where it's not true, which means it's not truth with the TH. It's not the #9. So if it's not truth, we're not teaching it here, because you cannot use that and always come or yield the results that you're looking for. You're gambling. If you're going off of theory, you're gambling. We're talking about truth. So the beginning portion of understanding or identifying practice versus sanity is, what in the world, where did you get your thought process from? Is it from a proven model? Did you get the information from somebody that has what it is that you're looking for? Are you getting your advice or your counsel from someone that's already done it? Because if not, that's insane. That's just not smart. It's not wise. And
that's you talking to hear yourself talk. That's you wanting your ego stroke. That's you just wanting to be like, I just want to get it out. I don't need you to, getting validated is going to make you feel some kind of way. Like, that's looking for truth and looking for affirmation are not necessarily the same thing.
Now, I am by no means saying that you can come to a conclusion or assumption that does not turn out to be truth if you're consistent with it. I'm not saying that at all, because every truth has been an assumption until it was proven. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't consistently move towards something, but I can say that it's not practice, because you're not practice. It can be testing.
It's pursuit. It's pursuit, but not practice.
Exactly. It's pursuit of truth, but it's not practice. Practice comes from already seeing a proven end and working towards that, which is why you're practicing in the first place, because you're altering yourself, you're moving to practice to get to where you've already seen yourself getting to, or seeing someone get to. So that's the first point. You have to have a proven model in order for you to be practicing. Okay. So second thing, practice is strategic with intentionally planned goals and expectations of slow yet incremental progress towards proven model or goal for yourself. I'm gonna say that again. Practice is strategic with intentionally planned goals and expectations of slow yet incremental progress towards a proven model or goal for yourself. I can't stress for yourself enough, because when you're practicing, you're literally going to a certain place or doing a certain thing and working on something with a goal in mind that's incrementally going to get you to a certain place. Now, insanity, on the other hand, is impulsive with no strategic plan, with the intent of getting an immediate, long-lasting result of something that's never been proven. I'm gonna say that again. Insanity is impulsive with no strategic plan, with the intent of getting an immediate, long-lasting result of something that's never been proven. I'm going to go back to my statement. We're getting advice on women from guys who are dogs, who are telling you all kinds of rude and wrong and Al Bundy-esque things, just macho. You need to do this to that woman and all this ridiculous stuff. They don't have it. It reminds me of, I'm not sure if you all ever watched The Cosby Show, when Bud or Kenneth would always say, "My brother told me." And then it was on one show where he said, "My brother never ends up with anybody. He's always alone." And it's like, this stuff has never been proven. But we go to them and we go and we want this girl to do something. We want this husband to do something. We go for advice. We say, okay, I'm taking that advice, and we go bring it back, and we're looking for an immediate response, and we want it to last and help us throughout the entirety of that relationship.
Stir and add water. Stir, add water. Poof. Done.
Exactly. Lisa said, insanity can also be the lack of doing something over and over again and expecting a result, or for things to change, like lack of communicating or lack of intimacy. That's great.
Girl, you get it. You better preach. #9, girl. #9.
So that is definitely a #9, because it's the assumption that if I don't say anything, then he'll get it. It's like, you don't say anything. How the heck is he or she gonna get it? You ain't saying anything. Or I've heard this all the time. We've been together forever. He should know me. He knows me. Wait, what? No. She knows me. She knows what I want. I'm like, did you tell her what you want? What do you mean she knows what you want? So yeah, that's exactly right. But again, no action is an action. So
it is. And the absence of action is a practice. And from somebody who is a reformed person who mastered the art of denial. Like, mastered it. It's not happening. I got this. It's fine. It's not. It's good. I'm good. Life's great. Not truth. Not truth. No #9. But it is a practice. It is a practice that ultimately yields insane results, which are pressed down emotions and unresolved issues. But one of the things that I keep hearing while you're talking is that people are reaping the benefits of words that were spoken in the past, and those words are the practice, right? So we're reaping
That's
We're
good.
reaping the
Cycle.
benefits of
Cycle.
a previous practice. All the
Cycle.
practices.
Cycle.
It's a cycle, but we've done it. Like you're wanting to add water, stir, and poof, it's over. But you're missing the point that your previous behaviors, your previous words are being. That's the benefit of what you're living in right now. Then it's going to take the same. I mean, it's going to take some time to shift, change your words, and get a different outcome. It the patience and the discipline of practice are important. And like you said, to the reverse of insanity, which is impulsive and haphazard, right? So if you've been impulsive and haphazard most of your life, don't think that the 2 days of practice and intention and discipline is going to change everything. It's not. That's the cycle of life. It takes time.
And that's what's so funny about that too, because you'll have a person who is impulsive and they've never yielded the results of them being impulsive, and then they come to a person that tells them something that they need to practice, and they don't get any results immediately, and they're like, see, this doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
It's like, first of all, the reason why you got to me is because impulsive doesn't work. That's how you ended up here. That's how you even that's how you got to a place where you're even willing to take the advice that I'm sharing you about the necessary practice that will yield the results that you're looking for. But it's like, I want it now. And it's like, that's just not how it works. That's how nothing works, actually. Nothing works immediately.
Counterfeits work that way.
Yeah, exactly.
And because what I can say is that you can instinctually know something, like if you're an artist or something, and perform and get accolades immediately. So you can get counterfeit success, but that's not sustained success.
That's exactly right.
So you can get some results, but is it sustainable?
A wise man once told me, he said, if it's fast, it won't last. If it's slow, it's for show.
Wisdom.
He said, if it's fast, it won't last. If it's slow, it's for show.
It's for show. Hashtag
I'm like, okay, but I've lived my life like that. Like, I've never been interested in a woman that was immediately interested in me. I'm like, that's like, those things were ingrained in me, the things that were stated. And also another thing too, there's gonna things that have been proven in the past that just happen to work for that season of life in general, that you're going to have to step back and say, okay, it did work, it has been proven, but is it truth? And so you have people that were successful at, I hate to use this as an example, going to school, getting a good education, getting a great job, and being set up for success. That's not necessarily true now. So you might have someone who's being successful that's telling you, hey, this is what you need to do because this is what I've done, and this is why I'm successful right now. But that's not necessarily true.
Seasons change.
That way, exactly. So seasons change, exactly. So truth maintains itself no matter the season, and that's why it's truth. So you can have a problem with truth.
You can learn your craft is a truth. How you learn your craft is flexible. Learn your craft and be rewarded because of excellence is a truth, period. Yeah. How you learn it, not 4-year institution, certificate, apprenticeship, how you learn it, those things change.
Yeah. And the whole like the education being the route to success, those things change. Prior to people having a such thing as employment was entrepreneurialism. It shifted to actually being a worker, like
institutionalism.
Exactly. So it all changed. So be careful. Again, this is what I mean by I'm stressing the whole thing of I need us to be thinkers, because you might very well get someone that comes to you and says, hey, it's proven, I've done it, I did this, and it's like, but is that truth? Is that sustainable right now? Will that work? And vice versa. Like my mom was the one that told me when I was younger, you need to go to school, get a good education, so that you can get a good job. And I'm like, Mom, you never did it. So if it's so soundproof or foolproof, why don't you come with me? let's do this 4-year ride together if you really believed in that.
Let's do this
But
together.
it didn't work out.
Didn't work out that way, did it?
But again, she's someone that's telling me something that she did not do or wasn't necessarily proven. So that's not the person to go to. I'm not trying to sound harsh or rude, but she's not proven for me to get that type of wisdom or advice from. It
doesn't mean that she doesn't have any wisdom. It's being clear about what you need from somebody, right? So it's not like don't talk to people. It's be careful or be aware or wise about what you talk to them about in determining them as experts enough to pour into your life about a particular subject.
Most certainly. And lastly, it says Lisa put practice takes time and patience. That's so true. And to add to the time and patience, intentionality. Which is why you're practicing, because you have someone that is there that is saying, no, you didn't do that right. You need to adjust your foot. You need to do this, or no, it's not. Stomp with your right foot first, and stomp with your left foot first. You have someone that knows it, that is tweaking you along the way so that they can get you the results that you're looking for. So we've tackled the two things. Now let's get to the third one. The third one is probably the most important one to realize as we get to the conclusion of the show. Insanity is meant to make you feel better. Practice is meant to make you get well. I'm going to say that again. Insanity is meant to make you feel better. Practice is meant to make you get well. What do I mean by that? Let me give you some examples of that. Oh, nah, she didn't do this. Now I'm not gonna do that. It made you feel better that, you know, I got her back. You know, she wanted to treat me like that. I'm gonna treat her like that. But when has tit for tat ever yielded you good results? It just made you feel better for that impulsive moment. It made you feel like I got her back. So like you felt better in that moment, but it doesn't ultimately get you well. Practice, on the other hand, is something that you're working and you're tweaking and you're not seeing results, but as a result of the practice, your ankles are getting stronger, your thought process, your movement, you as a being, you're getting well. Who you become in the process of practice is actually causing you to become a well being. Whereas impulsive insanity is just stuff that's being done to make you feel good for immediately at that moment, but it's not going to necessarily yield you long-term wellness. It's actually going to cause you long-term pain. I want to eat this ice cream cone because it just tastes good. It's an instant feeling, but if you consistently do that, you practice that, you're going to have a long-term weight gain and issues, but discipline doesn't necessarily feel good, but ultimately it's going to become a habit and it's going to yield you just better decision-making, better processes, better systems, and things of that nature. Michelle is in deep thought, so I would like to hear what she has to say about this.
Well, a couple things, right? So when you were talking, I was thinking about like when it makes you well, right? Being and bringing your best self to your relationship will breed a better self in the other person. So like, it goes to the top of the triangle, it's constantly evolving. But I was just talking to a family member who was saying like, I can't control the insanity of my mate, and that's making me frustrated. So we talked it through and we were like, well, focus on making yourself your best self, and being your best self will make this other person want to be their best self, and that's going to get back to where you really were. And it was a relatively quick turnaround because the person found peace, and that peace is contagious. So peace is contagious, right? So they brought peace and they were like, I'm going to follow my dreams. I'm going to care. I'm going to be caring because I'm caring. And that means I'm going to care for you. But it's not that I'm going to respond to your instability. I'm going to just be consistent with my caring. I'm not going to always respond to every trigger. I'm going to just be consistent with my respect and my caring. And that ultimately led to a more peaceful existence, which openly now led to a better space to have other conversations, right? To stop the insanity. And I was just like, yeah, bring your best self, because you can only control what you can control. And that's your practice. Your practice is bring your best self. And it's contagious.
Exactly, because and that's why I stated earlier that practice is strategic with intentional planning, goals, and expectation of slow yet incremental progress towards proven model or goal for yourself. The problem with relationships, oftentimes, especially when we're talking about this, is that we, for one, believe that it's 50-50 when actually it's 100-0. Because love is a one-way street. I've stated that on numerous shows. So if you are going into this with 50-50, I give this and then she'll yield that back to me, or he'll yield that back to me, that is, you're expecting them to be a contributor to how you feel, the results.
That's like, I'm going to make him love me. You can't make nobody love you.
Yeah. Whereas one thing that people they can't understand about me, and it even frustrates them because they present it in hopes to get a response from me, is like, I really don't care how you take what I say or think or feel or whatever. And people will come to me and they share stuff, and your stuff or your problems are not my problems. And I'm not going to adopt your problems or your beliefs or your frustration. I'll give you an example. If I brought up Donald Trump right now, there's going to be one of two responses. People are going to be extremely angry or extremely for whatever it is that he's doing. And that's dangerous. I have no feeling whatsoever when I hear the word Donald Trump. He doesn't contribute to anything revolving my life whatsoever. Everything that I do is to assist in me growing and evolving, and nothing outside of me is going to dictate how I feel or anything of that nature. Now, as far as my relationship is concerned, I think the success or failure of the relationship is on me. When it comes to parenting, I think the success or the failure of the child is on me. So when they mess up, I don't say they mess up. I say I messed up, which makes me investigate what I could do to fix or solve that problem. Whereas when people are in relationships and they're insane, they say he messed up, he has to fix it. So now they're upset with him or her, and nothing ever gets resolved because you haven't taken ownership of what happened in the relationship.
Whatever you contributed to. It's not saying that they're completely off the hook, but take ownership of how you contributed in any way.
I'm not saying make them the victim. I'm saying make you the solution. And first, look at yourself as the contributor to the solution, and figure out I either shift my perspective or shift my actions. That's all I do, which prevents me from being frustrated or deal with crap. And people, you can hold that all you want and think I'm gonna change my mind. I'm be like, I've been forgot about that. I made my statement. What you do with that is up to you. Oh, you don't want to give me none? That's fine. I've slept on the couch or in my office before. Doesn't bother me.
I'll be fine.
I'll be fine. I'm not wavering or shifting my perspective on my standards, morals, and my values because I want you to do something. Again, that's manipulation. But I've already shared my truth. I've put it up against whatever. And if I'm wrong, I apologize. But what you do after I apologize, that's also up to you. I'm not going to sit here and keep on begging you and all that stuff like that. I'm not moved.
But that's a practice. That's a practice.
Yeah, exactly. It's a practice.
That is a practice.
I've concluded that stuff that I cannot control, I can't control. So why am I going to get bent out of shape over something that I can't control? I control every single thing that I can control. So the stuff that I can control is not going to go wrong. And if it does go wrong, I'm going to fix it. If I can't control it, I'm not bothered by it one iota. So the issue is you are 100% responsible for how your relationship works. 100%. You. It's not 50-50, it's whatever. You are 100%. And when you look at it that way, you start to try to figure out how to troubleshoot.
And your relationship is played out. A lot of it is played out up here before it's played out in the real world.
All of it. No. Like
not
a lot of it. All of it played out.
And you can control this narrative. This narrative in here, you can control and edit and make determinations and play out scenarios and analyze and all that kind of stuff. Like if you're not getting what you're looking for, then what are you looking for? And then going back to that, like, what is it? And what did I not communicate about that?
That it's in your mind is the fact that, okay, those who have been cheated on, before you found out that you were cheated on, you were fine. Then you found out you were cheated on and you weren't fine. That was based off of the thought process that you had after you found that out. It happened. It been happening. It had already been a truth that had passed. You were fine till you found out about it. That is something that you took and you created whatever kind
process. You made some determination.
That is based off of a thought process. The person that you were with, especially in this day and age, was already with somebody before you. So the fact that they've been with somebody has already happened. You even knew about it. And you accepted that. I'm not saying that you should accept being cheated on. I'm just giving you that as an
example of how your mind impacts
of how your
reality is.
It's a decision. And every single thing that we do is based off of how we process it and and come to a conclusion based off of that. And that is also practice insanity. So we have in our mind that this, like I said, that's okay. Because if I hit her, she'll stop. Or if I hit him, he'll stop. Or if I curse her out, then she'll get it. You know how often I hear that? It's not until I cuss him out that I get some daggone results. Okay. First of all, how do you know it's not until you cuss him out that you get results? Because you've had to cuss him out multiple times. So that means cussing him out doesn't really work, or else you would have only had to do it one time. So, like, you're
creating a new practice that's insane.
You have the evidence that cursing him out, it actually doesn't work. It just might work for a short period of time. And again, it made you feel good. That's right. I told him, he shut up after I did that. Okay, but what seed did you plant in him? How is he viewing you from this point forward? Does he respect you? Does he feel that you have his back? What is happening? What's really going on?
What's the fruit of those words?
Exactly.
What is the benefit of that practice? What is the outcome of that practice?
Exactly. So for one, we want to have a proven model that we're going to reference to start working on to get to that particular place. And proven model, I prefer. I can honestly say it's a no love podcast. I can honestly say it's a no love game. I can honestly say it is the handbook for increasing your relationship IQ. Put it to you like this: good judgment comes from experience, but experience comes from bad judgment. So good judgment comes from experience, and experience comes from bad judgment. I've provided you with all the bad judgment in the no love simulator, all the bad judgment to give you the necessary experience that you need in order to walk this journey of knowing and understanding love. This podcast, it is definitely putting on the platform and exposing all forms of bad judgment that has yielded truth and practice that will allow for you to walk this thing out better, more equipped, and more intentional about this thing called love. So you definitely have to have a proven model. I think that I know that we have the proven model through this anything revolving around no love. Then you have to practice strategically with intentionally planned goals and expectations of slow yet incremental progress towards a proven model or goal for yourself. So if you already have a proven model in front of you, it is that you are altering yourself to fit. But oftentimes what we don't do, which is what I love and what I mean by lastly, the portion in which practice is meant to make you get well, is there's always residual growth that comes with a practice of something. We don't realize we're just trying to get the movement. But as I stated earlier, your ankles are getting stronger, your thought process, the discipline in your body. And I keep thinking about stepping because I've been teaching my daughter steps and stuff. Or violin, the music, learning music, it helps you to read other things. It's residual. It's more things that come. Like there's an overall wellness that comes with the discipline of not saying anything. You find out that had you said something, you would have found out that what you were saying or assuming was way off base and absolutely wrong. So there's so many practices that allow for your growth and wisdom to come that have absolutely nothing to do with what you were actually trying to do in the first place. It just makes you a well-rounded person. Whereas I told you in the beginning, when it comes to insanity, you're doing things and expecting immediate results. You might get her to shut up. You might yell at her and get her to shut up or whatever, but does she respect you anymore? What is her thing? Is she strategically strategizing how to get away from you? That's why she shut up. She shut up because she shut down, and now she's shutting the door on the whole relationship. Like, did you really get what it is that you're looking for just because you got immediate results? So it should be a slow, incremental process. You're not going to necessarily yield immediate results. And then, of course, as I stated, it's meant to make you better. You should ultimately start seeing things that also benefit from the practice that you've been having throughout the process. I have Jamel that said good judgment comes from experience and experience from bad judgment. Dope. That's what's up. Michelle, any closing remarks, thoughts while we conclude the show?
I think one of the most obvious missing pieces that we didn't get to speak on, which is probably going to come up next, is commitment. None of this. You're either making a commitment to making impulsive. You're committing to impulsive, or you're committing to discipline. And by the byproduct of commitment is progress. You can progress in a positive, or you can progress in a negative. But we're making commitments. There's no fruit to be born out of no commitment. And I think that what's interesting in love relationships is, and again, being guilty, I can only tell you what I know, is being afraid of commitment or avoiding commitment that is an insane practice. And I say that because it doesn't yield the benefit you're looking for. So not committing never gets you to the happily ever after. So the fear of commitment is never going to get you there. So you've got to change your practice to take baby steps in committing to yourself, right? To the triangle, commit to yourself, commit to practicing on working for yourself. But to get you to the point where you can commit to a relationship, otherwise you're not going to ever get to the happily ever after, the love space. But that's an insane practice. And commitment is a core value or a core element of this entire conversation, because there's no results without commitment to the process.
Which is why the model is so important, because if you don't have a model, you won't have commitment. And it's the model that allows for you to say, okay, I'm getting closer to this model, so I'm going to keep going because I see me getting closer.
I see progress.
Exactly, you're seeing progress. Whereas when it's insane, and you're just doing stuff, you just give up on it because you don't see progress, because you don't really have a model to say that I'm getting closer to that thing. So people who are committed, they're committed to seeing an end. And oftentimes people don't see anything, especially when it's an assumption or it's impulsive. So you're not seeing anything, so you give up immediately. She said, that's right, Michelle. Lisa, go ahead.
I think that the other piece to commitment is, I missed my note, but the other part of commitment, you can't commit if you don't have a vision. You got to commit with vision. You
That's the
have a
model.
commitment, right? So the model is whatever that end game is,
Model is
but
the
you have to
vision.
have vision. You have to have vision, and that's what you can commit to,
That's
right?
right.
That's up here and in here. But what's cool about even what we're talking about, in whether it's insanity or practice or whatever, it's revision, right? So with as you get to a certain point in your practice, then you set a new goal and you modify your practice to improve to keep the progress going. Same thing with vision. Once you get to a certain level of achievement within that vision, like I was telling you about catapult earlier, like now that I've gotten to this point, now I got to revision. Well, what do I do now that I've achieved this, and how do I get it out to the world now that it's achieved its existence? So with commitment, it's linked to vision, and vision is revisioned every time you make an achievement.
That's good. Tila J said, no results without commitment to the process. #9. I know that's the truth. #9, that is so true. Trying to think of what will my concluding thoughts be.
Don't be insane.
No, you definitely don't want to be insane. But what you do want to do is with this vision. So that's good. I'll do it that way. With this vision that she's talking about, this goal or the model, the end all be all, whatever it is that you've concluded that you want the end result to be, whether it be your relationship, your business. Now that you've come up with that vision, what you should do in the process is figure out what you need to work on with you to get there, not what anyone else needs to work on. Your practice should be practicing on what you need to do to bring that vision to pass, not what someone else needs to change to bring the vision to pass. It's what you need to change, and that's what you should be practicing on. How do I get to the characteristics or qualities or habits that will get me the results of that particular change? What do I do? Because what we do is we have the vision or the end all, and we're like, if he would just do such and such, or if he would just do this, as opposed to, all right, what do I need to do, and what do I need to work on for this however long to get our relationship to be that way? And I can assure you, if you change you will change the situation, the scenario, the outcome, or whatever. If you focus on what you need to work on and disregard and that's the power of love. And I'm probably gonna have to do a teaching of that, because that's another thing. Like, people get offended that I do something or someone doesn't do anything for me, and they're like, "Well, that didn't make you mad." No, because I didn't do it for them. I did that because I'm a loving person, and I just did it because that's what love looks like. I don't care what she did in response. I don't care what he did or didn't do in response. That is the power of love. You're doing stuff and you're not looking for anything to come back. But when you do stuff consistently out of love, it automatically comes back.
The byproduct is reciprocation. The byproduct of giving is reciprocated. It's a law. It's an irrefutable law.
It's a law. Exactly right.
If you give, you will receive.
Exactly. So with that being said, I'm glad we're back. I'm glad you all are back. I appreciate the comments. I promise you, I am praying. I am studying. I am listening. I am putting the stuff that I've prepared to teach to you up against anything that I can to poke holes into it before I get it to you, because I care about you all yielding great results when it comes to this thing called relationships, communication, and just love in general. I want people to see you and say, hold on, that looks like somebody, that response was a no love response. I want it to be apparent that people have been involved with this no love process by the way that you all respond to things, see things. I have so many people that are in my inner circle that I'm getting so much feedback about. Oh my gosh, I could tell that's your child, or oh my gosh, I could tell he's been with you just too long or all the time. And I want no love to be that way. Oh my gosh, you must be listening to that No Love podcast. I want it to look like, through your actions, through your responses, or through your lack thereof, for it to be apparent that you are a student of this no love journey. I promise you, if you ride with me, I will get you to a place where you will look back and be proud of yourself, and you will see the results of you practicing and then yielding a harvest in your season if you're consistent. So until we meet again,
I am a byproduct. I am an outcome. I am a testament, and I think that's why we yin and yang. I definitely have benefited from the exposure to the ideas, and I take that back to, knowing love is knowing God. But iron sharpens iron, and so we're being able to have somebody hold you up and hold you accountable to what you say you believe, and being able to articulate it in a way that makes you critically think about it, so that even when you walk away, you still get this thought process with you, is invaluable, and growth is inevitable, and I can attest to it. I keep growing every day, and our friendship is so much fun. I love you.
I appreciate that, sis. Until we meet again, y'all have a wonderful week. Y'all take care. Be blessed. Have a good one.
Peace. Be blessed. Happy 2020.
Yeah.